Today is November 19th. It is a Sunday, 10:48 a.m. Welcome to another episode of Crypto Wars. Let's take a look at the markets. I took a break from doing videos. It's just been really busy. And, there hasn't really been too much like extra news. So I was like, it's kind of same old stuff. Can't really pay too much attention to it. You kind of have to be doing real life things in the real world. And, for the longest time, I don't think I realized that, but the more you're involved in a space and in investing, if you're going to make a career out of it, you got to make a career out of it, right? You can't make a career like trading in that sense. I'm talking about like building your own business model around this technology or, whatever space you're in. And then the investment aspect of it is just kind of the long-term plus, and then you're investing your time too, which tends to be more valuable, so you get a more valuable return type thing. So, it's interesting when you look at it that way, because time is priceless. So you get a priceless return when you invest your time. Anyways, I'm looking at BTC and where it's going to go from here. It's going to be interesting. Right now it's in like that up or down type phase, like it's just going sideways. You could see it roll off the table, or you could see a boost. There's a lot of people that are jumping on the BTC bandwagon, and what's funny about Bitcoin is, I think it's like an index almost, and that's very steady rise, guaranteed gains, and it's like a guaranteed winner, right? We have like the altcoins on the side, which are much more volatile. Everyone's always freaking out about them, and I think in this space, people are such long-term or short-term thinkers that they're thinking about Bitcoin going to 14,000, right? And that's 100%, which is a lot. And like, to be honest, if you just hold Bitcoin the whole time from the beginning, that long-term, then you're like, you're in a really good spot. But see, when I think long-term, and I think of like the alternate coins and the volatility they hold, and just what we've seen even so far, like things like Monero. I remember when Monero was $2, and today it's like 131 bucks. Like, it's insane. So, I mean, and BTC has been insane too. It's one of those things where you just got to wait long term, no matter what. The volatility, usually you get the same results, whether one's a gradual rise, one's more volatile, and it gets there. It's just one of those things where, as long as you're not, going back in to the monetary system that once was, that is now obsolete, like, you're going to be fine. So you don't really have to worry about the prices. Just, you have to know that you're adapting into a new monetary system that is better and more efficient, more economically sound. When you start to think of it that way, it's like, oh, I don't even need to sell on a high or sell on a low. I don't need to panic. Like, I just know that the new system that I'm adapting to, it's not compared to the old system, so you can't really measure it in dollars, right? You can kind of measure it in things like time and, what the amount of wealth earned per wage, or even run it against gold. Like, how many ounces of gold do you think one Bitcoin's worth? I think our perception of value is so skewed, since we're so little. Like, you weigh everything in dollars, and you value time in dollars, and you value everything is just like an analyzed in dollars. Our perception of wealth is so skewed at this point, even in terms of dollars of a Bitcoin, or that's why these markets are so volatile, because no one knows what it's worth. Like, it could be worth everything. It could be worth infinite dollars, like, because dollars are not worthless, right? So it's a new age. It's kind of like the mark of the end times in my eyes. Like, that's what blockchain is, like that next step above the internet, sort of technology of interconnection in the sense of wealth, and ledgers, rather than just media and information. So it's a big step. As far as, I was gonna mention I was gonna talk about PureCoin a little bit. Peercoin does have a soft fork on December 15th, just something to keep your eye on. That's just a quick mention. I talk about it in other videos too. If you want to check that out, you can. But I also want to talk about starting my own like education center around cryptocurrency and trying to the challenges and just updating that and doing that because it is sort of a long-term vision. I think it's going to be sort of my thing. And if I can inform people on Steam about it now and into the crypto community now, it'd be cool. So this idea, long-term vision. I imagine like sort of having a coin connected to this consulting firm, right, or education centers and things. But short term, it's going to be kind of like getting people memberships, just kind of like a networking center for cryptocurrency, and also like schedule classes, advanced classes and courses, have like beginner seminars open to the public, kind of just to draw people in, and sort of get a reputation, you know, build up real world relationships. And for example, I consulted a guy yesterday. He bought a computer, he bought a laptop for the first time just to buy Bitcoin. Like that blew my mind. So he was having so much trouble navigating because he's never even had a laptop before, but he wants Bitcoin, and it's like it was awesome. Like I loved it. He was a laborer, so I thought it was great. And I was telling him, it's like, man, it's way better than being like on the internet all day like some people are, like out of touch with reality. I mean, it depends on what you're doing on the internet, of course, but you know what I mean. It can get too much, even if you are doing the right things. Like, I say that for myself. Like, I spend all the time on this shit, and at some point, it's unhealthy, definitely. But it was just like amazing because he was so excited, and he recognized he didn't need to know like technical navigation to realize that Bitcoin is like it's not new, but it's a revolutionary thing. It's a freeing idea, and the concept of it is so sound and it's so interesting, and there's so many reasons to have some, right? And I was listening to Trace Mayer, and Trace Mayer is a fucking genius, and he's talking about how like back like when the slave days, or just in history of time, you're gonna have to buy your freedom. And that's what cryptocurrency is. It's you buying your freedom. You're becoming a free person, right? So if you don't take the initiative to buy your freedom, you'll never be free. And it's different than any other type of system we've seen before. So it's kind of crazy because there's a limited supply of this stuff, and as soon as the dollar bill collapses, you're going to see people scrapping for it. You know what I mean? Like, there's a limited supply of high quality, widely accepted cryptocurrency, because you have to remember that like things that have true value are things that with people that have a lot of wealth and they value it. Like, I was thinking too, like, cryptocurrency isn't the first original like decentralized model for currency, ever. It's just the first to be like really harnessed and used for that, because like if you look at like pearls, for example, right? A pearl is sort of like a decentralized way of value because they're valuable and there's a limited supply and people accept them as valuable, right? So like when you look at like a pearl, for example, it's just a token or a form of wealth. Obviously, the difference with this too is the intangibility of the ledgers. That kind of enhances it, because how is a thief gonna take your stuff without your private keys? And so it has an extra layer of protection that way, I'd say, because you don't even have to trust like guards at a door. I mean, but when you dive in to this technology, and it's different than any other type of speculative markets we've ever seen before, because it's not like commodities or anything really. So you can't really compare it to gold. I mean, I think gold is still a great thing. Like, don't get me wrong, but I think gold and silver are more for like both medicinal purposes and technologies and motherboards and things like that. Monatomic gold actually has like anti-gravity properties. So if you put like a glass of if you put monatomic gold in like a glass jar, the glass jar will actually weigh less, right? So, I think that, at anti-gravity properties, you're going to see maybe not flying vehicles, but like some sort of things that have like gold with in the monatomic state. But like it's just you know, I think once science really taps into the monatomic values of precious metals, then you're gonna see like a very futuristic society because the opportunities it opens for devices and things. I was just listening to a guy, First Majestic. I think he started First Majestic Silver, and he was just talking about how, if the world wants to be more green and if people want to use electricity for things instead of gas, and we want to like, just be a cleaner earth, which makes sense. I mean, when you look at cleanliness, I don't know. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. I don't think that's that valid of argument, but it's balance. I think it's the like oil, for example, was put on this earth for a reason, but being able to conserve it is definitely a plus. So when you look at like electricity, and if you could use silver cables or silver wires because electricity or silver is the most conductible, metal on the earth, the conductivity of it, I'm sure, would be much more efficient when running cars, and it's just a matter that silver is expensive, and that copper is kind of the alternative to silver in that sense. I mean, but when you're looking at high-tech things, you're going to need highly conductive metals. So not like running, copper is more for phone wire or whatever, just kind of average household appliances and utilities. So, yeah. But it's going to be a wild, it's going to be 2018, it's going to be crazy. I will say that. It's going to be nuts. All right, peace.